Welcome to this episode of Viatorian Voices, where our conversations on the way give witness to the ministry and spirituality of walking with youth and those who go underserved. We carry the charism of our founder, the Venerable Louis Curbs, who taught us, "Strive to do everything well, so that through you, Jesus may be adored and loved." Here's your host, Viatorian Associate Dan Masterton.
In this episode, we head out on the way with Father John Eustice. For 3 weeks earlier this summer, Father John was a chaplain at Philmont Scouting Ranch in New Mexico. He assisted with camp setup for the summer trek groups and served in rotations around the property. Father John celebrated masses and heard confessions, provided pastoral support to people in need of assistance, and spent time with trekkers, staff, and fellow chaplains. Father John is an Eagle Scout and has remained involved with scouting through Catholic initiatives, Eagle Boards of Review, and more. Here, Father John takes us with him in this special summer ministry. After you listen, help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life and all people considering Viatorian association. Let's start with a road trip. While Father John often flies to meet discerners or present at conferences, he also likes a good drive, especially on routes where he can stay with friends and family on his way to a special destination.
I feel like I really am living my life as a Viatorian on the way. I got in the car a couple of days ago in Arlington Heights, Illinois, traveling all the way out to Cimarron, New Mexico, where I'm going to be serving as a chaplain for Scouting America at Philmont Scout Reservation. I was able to be here last year for the first time, and it just feels like I'm coming home in a lot of ways. Today I drove through Cimarron and entered the Welcome Center and checked in as that chaplain, and one of the staff members says to me as he's taking my photo for my ID, "Hey, thank you for what you do. I know that you all have sometimes the thankless jobs and we throw a lot at you." But I said, you know what? This is what we're here for. What better place to come and be in God's holy creation among young people who are exploring it and allowing God to talk to them. So I'm looking forward to the next few weeks, setting up the camp and then being able to welcome people who are going to go on their journey throughout the trails in northern New Mexico.
With the road trip done, it was time to get to work. It takes over 1,000 staff members to get Philmont set up and working well for the summer, and part of Father John's role was to play sacristan and get prepared for the many Catholic masses that will be celebrated over the course of the summer.
I've been at Philmont for the last 24 hours, and we've pretty much got the Catholic chapel set up, a few extra things to go. But Father Mark Carr, he's a Jesuit up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. He and I are putting together everything, and we started Mass last night at 7 o'clock, and from here until August 12th, Masses will happen at base camp the whole time. It's pretty exciting to be able to get this camp up and running. We're meeting a lot of great young people who are part of the 1,100-person staff. And I just witnessed about 100 and some horses being released into the pasture next to us. They sound happy. Perhaps you can hear them. Anyway, this is me signing off.
There's a few different kinds of religious communities and ministries, and Viatorians serve an apostolic ministry, sent out from community homes and centers to serve with and for the people of our society. As Father John dove into this chaplaincy, he really felt that element of religious life and Christian life. It connected him to people who are searching, who also were ready to welcome his accompaniment.
Today was a day where I felt like the apostles a little bit. The apostles right after Pentecost, in reality. Why? Because I was asked to be part of the leadership of the all-staff day, where 1,200 staff members come together and they split into small groups. And I was tasked with helping to lead a tour of the base camp. I've never been on a tour of the base camp. I've been around it. I knew what some things were, but sometimes you're given things that somebody else sees in you and says, I think you can do this. So in a way, it was like, okay, let's see what we can do. And it was a great experience. All 1,200 staff members came together on the lawn of the villa, which is the original location for Philmont. And there was a young adult ranger who is a ranger trainer. He and I led our group of about 20 people all around. What a great experience. What a staff from diverse backgrounds, diverse places, all ages, and just on fire for bringing about an experience for young people who are coming from all over the country to experience the outdoors and God's grandeur here. And I just am thinking, wow, how can I be a part of this, or how am I a part of this? And I just feel really blessed to do that. So I'm looking forward to celebrating Mass tonight with the staff, and then there'll be a campfire event, and training continues as the camp opens. After being at Philmont for almost a week and working with the staff, many of whom were young adults and college students, it's just amazing to me how many of them are coming up and asking, how do I become Catholic, or how do I finish my sacraments of initiation? This is pretty incredible, knowing that throughout the country, a lot of people are really latching on to Catholicism. So it's great to be a person here, a witness of the church, walking with them on their journey.
In the church, in religious life, in the Viatorian community, we find strength and efficacy in working together, collaborating for a shared mission and purpose. From the fellow religious serving as chaplains at Philmont to the many young adults on staff there, Father John had a rich experience of this communion.
I had the opportunity to work with a bunch of young adults who are on staff in various places. Some of them work maintenance, some of them are in the kitchen, some are backcountry staff, and some are rangers that walk directly with the young people going on trek. All of us seem to be in a common mission of providing for young people, but also curious about how is God present in our everyday. And as a team, as staff members, especially with these young Catholics who are seeking out deepening their faith and walking with other young people in their faith, me as a Viatorian getting into a vehicle, a Chevy Suburban that can traverse some of the rockiest territory that there is, going out into the backcountry to the backcountry camp of Cimarron-Citeaux. It was just amazing. I brought a couple of young people, young staff members with me to bring Eucharist into God's country, into the outdoors, into a space where young people were on the trail for 4 or 5 days. And then being in this outdoor 3-sided chapel and celebrating the sacraments with people who are seeking God and seeking Christ, just incredible. But it's not so much just the celebration of the Mass, it's more the journey getting there. It's more the being on the roads and the trails, not only the literal roads and trails, but where these young people are in their lives. And all the while I get to do it with a Jesuit and with a Franciscan and with a Divine Word missionary, all of us that have a common background in religious life and different flavors of it, but also all of us are Eagle Scouts and have our own past. And all of us have a desire to serve young people who are servants of other young people. And then the jokes that come with it reminds me a lot of Viatorian religious life. There's a sense of community, a sense of humor, and a sense of we're doing something holy here. On my 3rd week at Philmont, that was the week that young people started coming in to hike the backcountry. And I was attached to the logistics, which meant if there was a problem, I would go out there and help resolve it, conflict or whatever it might be. And it was Sunday, nothing, Monday, nothing, Tuesday, nothing. I just kind of went around base camp saying hello to people. I was itching to get out into the backcountry. And then Saturday rolls around. I'm like, well, I'm going to be leaving tomorrow, so there's probably not going to be anything, but that's okay. I'm just here to serve. And then a staff member was in crisis. So me and the Franciscan priest, Father Roger Lopez, we got in the Suburban, went out there and really met this young man where he was, who was really struggling. And we were able to treat him with kindness and with dignity and encourage him. He came back into base camp and it was like, okay, this is what I'm here about.
We might most readily associate chaplaincy with certain acts of pastoral care, such as bringing communion, hearing confessions, or providing pastoral counsel. At Philmont, Father John did each of these things, and then chaplains also pitch in on staff in a variety of ways. Some a bit unusual or surprising, but ways to help by presence and availability.
I went on to a different rotation where I was attached to the backcountry warehouse. Drive up to the warehouse, and she said, well, I'm going to be sending you to Cypher's Mine. Well, Cypher's Mine is not that close. Yeah, but you're the only one and I need you to go. I'm like, I'm also sending medication, so you need to stop at the infirmary, and I'm sending a geologist with you that needs to be out there. We get there and it's a backcountry camp with a theme, and these were all miners from the 1800s. So here's these young adults dressed in their attire, and they offered me lukewarm coffee because that's all they had. And I said, sure, why not? And just as I'm there, there's a group of kids backpacking into the camp. They're exhausted. They've been on the trail for 5 days. But one of them said, hey, wait a minute, weren't you the priest at Mass in base camp? And it was kind of neat to be recognized. And what I said to him was, yeah, I am, but I didn't walk here like you did. That's pretty incredible that you did. I drove. So I get on the way and I am literally driving in the clouds, and the visibility is getting less and less and less. And I get to this one point on this new road that I don't know that well, that had just been cut earlier in the season. And it is, I can't see 20 feet in front of me. I'm wondering, oh my gosh, is there another car coming the other way? So I get on the radio, hey, Unit 260 to base. Hey, is there anybody else on this road? They come back in about a minute. Nope, you're the only one up there right now. One of the camps radioed me and said, hey, we're at Sawmill. It's starting to rain. We're worried about you. And I go, noted, thank you. And then I just started driving through the rain and the mud and the hail. A lesson for me on that was, this is a place where unity happens. It's a place where looking out for one another happens, concern for one another. For example, being on that road, I can't see ahead of me. Can you help me? Well, they couldn't see, but they knew enough to say, no, it looks like you're the only one up there. And then another group of people saying, hey, I'm concerned for you. Be careful out there. And then just this communication that goes back and forth. To me, it is as they call Philmont, heaven on earth. It is a little piece of that where we look out for one another, we have a common goal, and we celebrate little achievements and just being in community, no matter what religion you are, no matter what gender you are, and no matter where you've been in life. It's definitely a place where God shines through every single person and every part of creation he makes.
Sometimes long-standing traditional institutions can fall apart or get left behind as they struggle to evolve with modern culture. In Father John's experience, scouting has grown and flourished. Here's a reflection from an Eagle Scout who came of age in the 1990s and now ministers to youth in the 2020s.
When I grew up in scouting, it was very narrowly minded. It was very, at least from where I grew up, we had a lot of people who served the military. And this is in the 1990s, and the sense of being open to different cultures was a little bit trying. Scouting now has changed completely in terms of the demographics who are involved. Number one, we have a lot of young women who are a part of it, young women who are earning Eagle Scout. And the culture within scouting now it's just a normative thing. When I grew up in scouting, it was like, oh, girls, no, they can do their own thing. But what a wonderful way of showing the body of Christ together working towards a common goal. Not only that, but in recent years, scouting has been open to LGBTQ+. And some might think, as a Catholic priest, oh, aren't you against that? Well, no, we are not against that. We are for walking with people on the journey. And knowing that God has created every individual, created desires in every individual, and that everybody is made good, as it says in Genesis. And so being there on staff as colleagues with people who identify differently was really a blessing. And to see the acceptance, not that everybody readily accepted it and was with open arms, but we're saying, well, this is part of who we are. And what a great witness to a program that really is trying to respond to and encourage the needs of young people who are building up our country, who are the leaders of the country now, and also the leaders of the church right now. So there's a great balance that's happening there that I don't think a lot of people appreciate it, but it's a marked difference that is a positive that respects human life and human dignity.
That's all for this episode of Viatorian Voices. We'd like to thank Father John for taking us along in his off-road Suburban on the dirt roads and backcountry of Philmont Scouting Ranch. May God bless the scouting community, especially its many Catholic young people and the faithful adults forming servant leaders. Philmont Scout Ranch is a destination where scouting adventure and the spirit of the Wild West come to life in the rugged beauty of New Mexico. To learn more about this natural area, visit philmontscoutranch.org. Most importantly, remember you can help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for an encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life and all people considering Viatorian association.
To learn more about our community, visit Viatorians.com or follow us on social media at Viatorian USA. Young adults can connect with peers at Viatorian YA on the way on Instagram. We invite those discerning religious life or Viatorian association to DM us on social media or email vocations@Viatorians.com. Viatorian Voices is a production of the Viatorian community, produced and hosted by Associate Dan Masterton, Director of Communications. Our Provincial Superior is Father Mark Francis. Voiceovers by me, Associate Dan Schwarz. Until next time, Venerable Louis Curbs, inspire us. Saint Viator, pray for us. Adored and loved be Jesus.